The armor will definitely play a role in the final episodes, where there isn't just good versus bad, but there are actually layers to each character. Which Mega Man 2 character are you modeling next? Hello everyone, my name is Nico, I'm a freelance 3D artist, and today I'm gonna answer more questions from you guys. And since I also do Mega Man fan art, and I'm especially known for my animated short film series that is inspired by the Mega Man X films called Mavericks, I thought in this episode I'll answer all your Mega Man questions. The first question is, how did you discover the Mega Man game? And what was the first game you played? So I'm pretty sure my first game was Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy. Back then when I was like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 or so, I got the Game Boy, and one of the first games was Mega Man 2. And that already left a huge impression on me, because back then the games were pretty simple, but a Mega Man with the weapon switching and with the bosses and everything, that was somehow like a new concept to me. So I found that really intriguing, and it stayed with me until today. After that I played, I think, even 3, 4 and 5, but I think I never actually played Mega Man 1. Not sure why. And besides that, I also played X1, 2, 3, 4, and I believe 5. So that's basically my whole spectrum of knowledge when it comes to directly playing the games. Will you make X wearing the complete armor and the Hadouken? Well, X wearing the armor or not is actually a huge plot point in the coming episodes, so I can't really say much about that, but the armor will definitely play a role in the final episodes. And regarding the Hadouken, yeah, probably not. I would like to do it, but I think it's too much of a niche thing to know about the games. It's more of an Easter egg, so not everybody knows that. And if he would do it, then many people would just think like, what is going on? Where is this coming from? And many people actually who watch my videos don't know or even play the games, so they would be just confused and didn't know what was going on. So in the end, I think I will leave it out. Which Mega Man 2 character are you modeling next? Well, me modeling Mega Man 2 characters is actually just a coincidence. I usually do a poll on my Patreon, by the way. It was just a coincidence that the characters who always won the poll were Mega Man 2 characters. So I actually don't know, but I think so far I've made so many of them that I will just do them all. But which one will be next, I still don't know. I think I will still make a poll with the remaining characters and see who will win. And by the way, if you also want to join the vote, then join my Patreon and you will definitely have the voting power to move the result in a certain direction. Why do you like Mega Man X in particular? And how did this affection begin? Back then, I think the biggest thing that fascinated me about the game was the massive improvement in quality over the original games. So the graphics were way better, the characters were more detailed, and also I found the concept of the animal robots very fascinating, that they are built after certain animals and they weren't not just inspired by things like Heatman, Crashman, Iceman, Woodman. It sounded just like stuff. It was still a very cool concept, but the animals were like on the next level. I remember as a kid I liked this concept a lot. And also in general about Mega Man, what fascinated me as a kid was just the concept of getting the weapon from the enemy when you beat them and then using them against the other ones. You can play through the game in a certain order, and that's like the perfect order. So that was really, really cool. And the concept of just choosing your levels in the way you want to choose them, even back then, that was a really new concept, which was also pretty cool for me. And currently it's for me mostly nostalgia and thinking about the time back then when I was a kid and played those games. So this kind of stuck with me to this day, and somehow it came back when I started learning 3D. So in the end, it was the obvious choice for me somehow. And while working on my animated series, I also dove deeper into the lore and into all the stories, and I found out that there is so much potential for bigger things. So there are so many interesting concepts and ideas, and there's just so much potential that was never really utilized, I think, in the games. And that's what I want to explore in my animated series, to see how this whole concept can be explored in a more mature way, in a more interesting way, and also in a more nuanced way, where there isn't just good versus bad, but there are actually layers to each character. And that there is not just fully evil and fully good, that there are certain aspects of characters where you might think like, okay, he's a good character, but he has flaws. And also on the opposite side, that all those bad guys have actually also stories behind them. They are not just evil for evil's sakes, but there is actually more to their character and reasons why they act as they do. and I would like to explore that in the Maverick series, and I hope so far I'm doing a good job, but the proper story about the characters will come more in the coming episodes. There I will dive even more into their stories and in the end why they are as they are. And especially in the final episodes we will go more in depth into those aspects. Who's your favorite Maverick boss from Mega Man X? Why are they your favorite and what do you like about them? Well, that's a difficult question, because for me so far, my favorite was always the one that I was working on at the current time. So whenever I worked on episode 3 with Sting Chameleon, I read a lot about the character, I did a lot of research, and this way the character became my favorite at the time. After that, I did episode 4 with Spark Mandrill, and the same happened again. Now I'm currently doing some research about Flame Mammoth. Yes, he will be the next main character for the new episode. The more I dive into their stories and into the lore and all the connections, the more I like the character. And so far, still Boomer Kuanga is currently my favorite one, but I think Flame Mammoth will be the next new favorite one. X or 0? X. What do you think of the art style in X8, 16-bit or 32-bit era? Also favorite MMX series boss. So what do I think of the art style? So I'm more of a fan of the 16-bit versions. The 32 are actually, they look pretty cool, but I think they lack a little bit of charm. But maybe that's just a nostalgia for me. So for me, it's 16-bit and this is more my style. Also favorite Mega Man X series boss. So I think when it comes down to playing the game and having a favorite boss to fight, I would say probably Storm Eagle, because I like his stage a lot. And also there is a lot of variety in how he's fighting. I think he's my favorite, but this also constantly changes. So depending on when I play, in what mood I play, sometimes it's a different one. So I would also say, yeah, it kind of changes. Favorite X game? X1. Favorite armor? The power armor from X1. I think all the other armors added like more and more stuff and it became so super exaggerated. I'm more of a fan of less is more. And also, again, nostalgia for the first game. Favorite X weapon? Yeah, the X1 Charge Buster. How would you rank each Mega Man in a tier list across the 7 series? So I have to admit that I didn't play all of them and my knowledge is limited when it comes to all the other series. So I can only rank them with the knowledge that I have, which is not a lot, but I will try my best. So the first one's obviously Mega Man X, after that Mega Man, then Mega Man 0, then ZX. I'm actually not a fan of the art style or the character design, but I think there are some really cool characters like Fafnir, for example. I like his art style very cool and his design. So after that, Battle Network, I would say, then Star Force and then Legends. Jesus. Did you spend more time on the Kuanga, Mandrill and Sting videos than Storm Eagle and Launch Octopus? Yes, I actually did. So the reason for that is actually pretty simple. I created the first ones when I was pretty early in my 3D journey. So my knowledge and my skills weren't that good. So you will see that the characters are designed a little bit more simple and not too complex. And the amount of detail wasn't as huge as it was in the later episodes. So I would say while doing episode 3, I pivoted to a different design approach, because in the first 2, I just designed the outer design of the characters and that's it. And from episode 3 on, I started thinking about the robotics inside them. So that's where I started incorporating also the mechanical aspect of a robot into the characters and not just taking their original design and just redesigning it a little bit from the outside. There is now a proper inside for each character. And yeah, with each episode also I gain more and more experience, so I can be more efficient and create more and better designs and more complex designs in the same amount of time. And obviously the more I work on those, the more experience I gain and the better everything looks. So I'm pretty sure that even in the future you will still see a progression in design and overall quality in my films. So in the end, when you look at the first ones, you will see that there is a difference in quality and maybe complexity. If you were to have each Maverick from a series speak, who would be your top voice actor pick for each Maverick? So yeah, I thought about it a lot. So first of all, I don't know a lot of voice actors, but I know a few. And I thought I would maybe put them to certain characters, but not all of them. It's just a little selection. So I think for Chill Penguin, so if you ever saw him speak in that one animated episode for Maverick Hunter.
Ah! Stop that thing! Roger! I'll secure the area! The generator is! Shoot the generator!
So I think Mark Hamill would be actually a great voice actor to voice Jill Penguin, because Jill Penguin has like this jokery kind of voice.
Now hold on to your hat and watch those valuables. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
And since Mark Hamill also voiced the Joker, I think this would be a good fit. So for X, I think he needs more of like a young voice. So I would think Yuri Lowenthal would be a good choice. He was the voice actor for the PlayStation Spider-Man games, for Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
Great. I don't know. I should feel totally at home here, but something is off.
So I think that kind of voice would fit X very well. Then there's also Nolan North from the Uncharted games. He would probably fit for Storm Eagle, I think, because Storm Eagle is like this proud kind of soldier.
Good girl. Well, history can't be wrong, you know. I had everything under control until they blew up the boat.
And I think Nolan North could pull that off to have like this very soldier-like voice, I think. For Flame Mammoth, so Flame Mammoth is like this big guy, obviously. I think you'll need someone with a very deep voice, and I think the voice actor for Kratos from God of War, so Christopher Judge, would be probably a good choice.
Return my son, or you may meet the god I once was.
I think, yeah, when you have like this big kind of round, bulky robot, to have a big kind of deep voice would be very cool. For Sting Chameleon, since he's more like this kind of sleazy robot, and I think he would have like a little bit of a high-pitched voice. So I think Hank Azaria would be a good choice. He's voicing a ton of Simpsons characters like Moe and a lot more.
Hi, how you folks doing? I'm Mo, or as the ladies like to call me, hey you behind the bushes.
So I think he would fit very well for Sting Chameleon. And for Spark Mandrill, I thought Patrick Warburton would be probably a good choice. He's voicing also... what's his name? Oh, it's Joe. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Patrick Warburton, he's the voice actor for Joe Swanson in Family Guy, the police guy in the wheelchair. And he has like this deep voice, but it's very comedic.
Oh, hey, I forgot. I brought you guys souvenirs from my trip to Vegas. They're t-shirts that say, I lost my shirt in lost wages.
And I think Spark Mandrill could use a deep voice, but still not be too serious. He could be more of like this comedic character. I would like them a lot. To maybe sound a little bit dumb, I think Patrick Warburton can pull that off real well. So thank you to all the Mega Man fans who provided me all those questions. I really appreciate that a lot. If you have even more questions around the topic of Mega Man or even 3D and Blender, then please leave them in the comments below and I will make sure to answer them in future videos. And obviously I have to do that YouTube thing again, so if you like this video then please click the like button. Please also subscribe to my channel, that would really help me out a lot. And if you really would like to support my channel, then my Patreon is probably the best way to do so. And this is also the best way to support the production of the Maverick series. So thanks a lot, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and bye-bye.